Yo, we are here at our studio and today we're going to tell you a bit about how we produced our collaboration with Blackstreet, No Diggity. We're opening up, we actually already have opened up the project file, so we're going to show you everything. A little note on the side, at some point we had to update our computer and now Ableton 9 is not working anymore. We updated it to Ableton 10 and 11, got a little bit confused, so some plugins aren't working properly, we still need to update that, but fortunately, we froze some channels, so we will still be able to show you everything.
Starting off with the intro.
Yeah, that's a frozen track here, you see it. So we created a sound Inspire, but we still need to update that since we updated our system like 10 versions ahead. It is important for the signature sound of this track though. What's really recognizable for this sound is that we added with Inspire one oscillator with 4 semitones on top, so it's like the major note on the bass, and that's giving it that happy vibe, a little bit of warmth.
The layer of the sound as a kick, more kind of a knock.
To give it a little punch.
Give it. Sounds like this together. And that knock is actually super important. Bam, 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 bam. It's actually super important because it immediately gives a little bit more vibe and maybe a little bit more swag to the intro. So the intro itself is pretty simple, but sounds pretty cool if you all combine it, including the and the final crackle.
Final crackle we've probably shown you earlier already. We do that with, I think, almost every track that we make, just to add a little bit of ambience. It sounds really natural, and that way it gives a little bit of a vintage vibe, which is especially cool with this track since it's a remake of a 90s track. So that's why we chose to put that final crackle a little bit louder than usual. The vocals, we recorded them with Blackstreet again, so it's not the original vocals from the 90s. We recorded this with these guys, and it's really cool to have these legends actually say Lucas and Steve.
You know what? Lucas and Steve, Blackstreet, No Diggity, no doubt. Sure to get down, good lord. Baby got 'em open all over town. Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Get paid.
Also here, just to be clear, you see us changing between the channel, also because of the update of our system. The timing in the project of the vocal got messed up, so we decided just to make the bounce of the vocal and import it. But it's the same processing as you can see right here.
Started off with a little bit of compression, and this is a very, very nice compressor. It's an emulation.
It's kind of a miracle happening, right?
Yeah,
with this one.
Amazing. Sounds really good. Has tube effects in it and makes your vocal kind of an analog kind of vocal where you have your transients and your attacks really nice in the mix and popping out in front of you. EQing just a little bit to get rid of those annoying frequencies, and we turned on our SSL equalizer, which is over there, to give it just a little bit more high end. This big tip is a kind of a, what is it actually?
It's a saturator.
It's a saturator, but more kind of an emulation of different saturators. And this one is the vocal warmth. It's from Gas Rock and it's called True Iron. And we put this on. Also, you can also put it on your master chain or your mix bus. But we put it on the vocal to get the vocal just a little bit more in front of the mix, because it's the biggest part of the track. Then a little bit of EQing, warmth, some of the mid-back and high-end. Spectre, it's also kind of a saturation thing, and you can turn on different types of saturation just to blend in the frequencies a little bit more. A Studer, awesome plugin, tape emulator. Soothe, which is crazy, and a gain right.
What's maybe cool to also explain about these two plugins is that Soothe is amazing. What it's actually doing, it's doing a lot of calculations, and that way it's actually dipping a lot of resonances and stuff that's popping out too much. to get a clearer signal. So you will get a way more cleaner EQ if you put that on a channel or on your master. It also has got some crazy mastering presets. With Spectre, the saturator, it's actually, if you boost something in there, it's like an EQ, but it's like it's not. If you're boosting a certain spectrum, then it's not boosting the resonances. So it's only boosting the stuff that you really want to boost instead of some frequencies popping out too much. So these two are pretty incredible and great for vocals. I think another thing that could be interesting on telling on the vocals is the de-essing part that we did. We tried out something, a trick.
Yeah.
And we were actually amazed by how accurately this worked. We created 2 channels using Melodyne. It's turned off right now because Melodyne makes a recording of everything and then it's best to bounce it. So what we did is split the channels. One channel with the sibilance control. Oh, that's amplitude. Here we go. The sibilance control tool. You can select your whole recording in here. In Melodyne and tell Melodyne you only want to hear the S's and the T's. Another channel we made doing the exact opposite, and you won't hear any S's or T's, and that way you have one channel with your S's and T's and you can put it as loud as you want or as softly as you want. That's what we did, and that way we got maximum control. Definitely worth trying out. I'm not sure whether it will work with every
not
vocal,
with every vocal probably.
but here it worked out really well.
Yeah.
So we're happy that we did it, and the vocal got so much more stable because of that.
So let's get over to the verse.
Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away, I can't get her out of my mind. I think about the girl all the time. East side to the west side, pushing back rise, but no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash fast when it comes to the gas. By no means bad.
This is one of the signature elements of the track is also joining the party, and that's the piano that we made. Piano is of course the original track had the bum original piano, but we added this one. We thought of this while we were making the drop that at some point there was just missing something, and we wanted to just to add something that's really new to the track. So we thought of this way to play the piano. We actually played this one. It's pretty fast. So it was a lot of work playing it in MIDI and then importing it to the track. Afterwards, we did quantize it, but it was just the way of playing it. If you really play it on a piano, you would just hit different notes compared to when you're only clicking. And we actually like that if you want to give the piano a real feeling and really want to add a vibe to a track.
Yeah.
I think it's about 3 layers, this piano.
Yeah, 3.
To start with,
we had the honky tonk from Keyscape,
which is really important because this way of playing is kind of a Western saloon kind of vibe. This is like a classical honky tonk piano. That's really smooth Nexus piano.
So the 3 layers. One is playing like the rhythmic part, which is actually pretty easy. That's the one from Nexus. That's this one.
It's more a rhythmic thing.
Yeah.
It's not really
just an add-on.
It's just adding a little groove to the whole story.
And then we have the 2 honky tonks play. The way we process them is actually super easy. This is the Keyscape one. The sidechain for the drops. This one is great for pianos. It's really stable. A little bit of EQing for this one, and a small note for how we mix our pianos. It depends on what kind of piano, of course. But we used like 2 of the honky tonks, and we panned them just a little bit to give them a little bit more of a stereo image, because the vocal was right in the middle, and it's not nice to blend every frequency that you have on your vocal. So see it as a nice way of giving the vocal that piano vibe instead of everything on the same spectrum. So that sounds like this together with the vocal.
East side to the west side, pushing back rise, but no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash, fast when it comes to the gas. By no means average, it's on when she's got the habit. Baby, you're a perfect 10, I wanna get in, can I get down so I can win? I like the way you work it.
Right, then you also hear the bass, and that's something that Lucas did. It's a bass from Keyscape, and it just plays the bass notes of the piano, but then in the same groove and some add-ons, I think, right?
I think there are some groovy elements. We wanted to, the bass to sound natural, like you would play it on a real bass guitar. But of course, it has to, really add something to the piano. So we kept it really close to each other, and without the bass, the piano loses body, and you do need it for such a part. So this is.
And then we have the kind of the fills. Some nice atmospheres.
Loop it, why not? There's a loop of a string sample.
We will get back to the talk boxes later. Then we have the important part of the drop, which we gonna explain right now. This is the drop.
I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Yeah. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up.
Getting this drop sounding powerful is getting every single sound doing their thing, because it's so empty that it's nice to like build a big build up and then just drop really empty, which gives you that whoa effect. We have a sub bass, which we recorded from the Moog. Then we have the kick, and a lot of people asked us about the kick. We made it. This is the low end with processing. Getting rid of the high end of the kick, because the kick sounds like this normally.
Don't forget the DBX, also cool.
Just a slide, not too much. And then the top kick sounds like this. That's a nice one. Getting rid of the high end because it makes it very digital. Blend it together with your low kick, and then it sounds like easy and very effective. And combine it with your sub, so it won't get away. We cut every single part of the sub, blending it to the kick, so it won't overlap or getting phase issues. So it sounds like this. Super tight, and that works really nice in the clubs also.
It's actually a way of sidechaining without sidechaining. So I think sidechain was invented, to make sounds work well with one another, and they don't overlap too much. But
and it's an easy way.
It's actually the easy way. This is, I think, the old school way. Just cutting away everything. Just keep in mind, a plugin is it also depends on your CPU during your bounce. You can already hear that sometimes the timing isn't like super straight with your kick, but this way you can just see how it's not overlapping, and that's actually more precise.
There is a big tilt in this kick, so blended in nicely is kind of doing a sidechain, but then manually instead of doing it automatically with a plugin, and it sounds I think, a little bit more tight than just putting on a sidechain plugin like, for instance, Kickstart or something. The way we process the bass is the glue, really nice tight compression for bass. Second compressor is again the bass control, just doing minimal EQing, topping it off with a saturator and a tape emulation studer, which has a nice preset called bass, and I think we used it on this one, and the free G to gain right your sub bass in the mix. And the last thing, which is pretty important, is the talk box.
Blow my mind, maybe in time, baby, I get you in my ride.
Classic. Where do you get stuff like this?
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
Hardly ever.
They recorded really nicely. It sounded actually really good. We didn't have to put anything on it besides the ester. Doing some reverb on it, on a send. Actually nothing too special, and sounded super great already. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below.
See you in the next video. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Of course, to stream No Diggity like crazy, like you've never streamed any other track before. and we will see you next time in a new episode. And ciao, see ya.